Rahab tells her story to her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. The children sat around her by the fireplace, as they loved to do every night after dark. They loved to hear her stories. I was a prostitute. She said this unashamedly. She was so old now that she didn't care what anyone thought. They all knew her story. They had heard it many times. I had no suitors, and my father couldn't afford to keep feeding me, so I had to find a way to fend for myself. As an unmarried woman, that was the only option I had in those days. I lived on the wall. It was strategic for my trade as a prostitute. The city's outskirts offered privacy. Living on the city wall meant I saw all the travelers that came into town. I heard their stories. The most remarkable stories were about the Israelites and their all-powerful God. How they left Egypt, how their God sent 10 plagues until Pharaoh had no choice but to let them go, and how Moses parted the Red Sea. They crossed the Red Sea on dry land, and this large multitude was headed our way. The people of Jericho were nervous about this, but we had our high walls. Those walls had protected us from many enemies in the past, and we trusted they would protect us against the Israelites. But when those two men came and told me they were Israelites, I knew I had to be on their side. I longed to be one of them. My own people, my own gods, had done nothing for me. I was poor, disenfranchised, and as a prostitute, I was regarded as less than nothing and had to live on the margins of society. I was desperate to belong to a people whose God could do such powerful and marvelous things. So, of course, I helped them. I hid them. I lied to the king that they had left, and I didn't know where they had gone. I misled the king's men and encouraged them to hurry after them. All the while I was hiding them up on my roof. As soon as I got rid of the king's men, I went upstairs before the men fell asleep and told them how terrified the people were of the Israelites. They had heard of all the Lord had done, the plagues in Egypt, the defeat of Pharaoh's army, the crossing of the Red Sea on dry land, and the defeat of 2 kings of the Amorites. I knew the Lord had given them the city because their God was all-powerful. I made them promise to be kind to my father's family as I had been to them. I asked for proof that they would do this. The men promised. They made me promise not to tell anyone about their plan. They told me to tie a scarlet cord and let it hang from my window. They told me to gather all my family into my house so that they would be spared. I told them to hide in the mountains for 3 days until the men looking for them gave up and returned to Jericho. I let them down by a rope from my window since my house was built into the city wall. Jericho was bolted and barred shut after the spies came because the people were afraid of the Israelites. No one could enter or leave. A few months later, the strangest thing started happening. We couldn't go out, but we heard the noise. I had the vantage point of living on the wall, so I could look out my window. What I saw was the strangest thing. It must have been tens of thousands of soldiers marching just outside the wall. Of course, they couldn't breach the wall, and they did not even attempt to. All they did was march around it. 7 men dressed as priests carried ram's horns ahead of this strange box being carried by a priest. They did this for 6 days. That is, they marched around the wall once a day for 6 days. I wasn't sure what the rest of the people in the city were doing. Everyone was locked indoors, afraid to go out into the streets. There was this sense of dread in the air, but I was secretly excited. I couldn't wait to see how all this was going to play out. On the 7th day, the Israelites did not leave for their camp after marching around the wall as they had done the last 6 days. I counted 7 times they marched, and on the 7th time, the priests blew their ram's horns, and immediately, following the blast of the horns, the troops gave a loud shout. At that moment, it was like an earthquake, and the walls started collapsing all around me. The troops charged into the city and captured it. The 2 spies, Salmon among them, came straight to my house. They came for me, my father, my mother, my brothers, and all my relatives, and everything I had. They gave us a place outside the camp of Israel. Then they burned the city and everything in it. My family and I have lived amongst the Israelites from that day. I married Salmon, one of the 2 spies. I had children, a family, and a husband who was respected in the community. I was happy. My family was important in this city. Boaz, my son, is an important man. He owns that large vineyard. He owns fields of barley and wheat. He married Ruth, and you are all the result of that union. I was a prostitute, a Gentile, but now I am a woman of faith. I worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I chose Jehovah, and he saved me, and he has been good to me. I risked everything, but he came through for me. God is still doing it. He is still writing redemption where no one expects it. Still showing up for those who dare to trust him. And here we are. Jesse, child, come rub my feet. Jesse, the father of the future king of Israel, ran over to his great-grandmother Rahab, only too glad to rub his beloved great-great-grandmama's feet, as he had done many times in the past. If God can redeem me when I was a prostitute, no one is beyond grace. If God can choose me, a former prostitute, to be in the line of his Messiah, no one gets to claim moral superiority. I acted decisively on what I knew, so should you. If this story touched you in any way, leave a comment and share this with someone. Thanks for watching.